And there's processes in my own company that are not my favorite, but I understand why I have to do them so that the rest of the world operates correctly. Could I do it faster? Sure. But will we get it done right? No.
We have to show them, hey, this is the process. This is what it is. This is how we're doing it. This is why we're doing it. And, I need you to buy in on this. I need you to try it 10 times.
All right. Welcome, everybody. So on this podcast, I'm joined by the wonderful Miss Therese Potter. How are you today, Therese?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing great. I love processes. So this is I feel like it's like spring cleaning, like March in New England is not really spring. It's still very much winter, but it's the time of year where everybody in New England starts throwing all their junk out because we're so sick of being in our house and seeing it that we do that. And I feel like agencies should do the same with their processes.
Absolutely. Yes. Clean house. Check them and make sure that they're updated and good to go.
Well, and I also think too, it's like, with the processes, some agencies may have had them. Are they adhering to them? Are we auditing them? Do they need to be updated? Processes can be a little bit exhausting because they're always dynamic and changing. And so often, you get the muscle memory and then all of a sudden the wheels fall off the bus and nobody's following a process. And you're like, what's going on?
Yeah, or you acquire agencies and everybody's doing everything their own way. And an agency I was at, I asked, do you have written processes and procedures? Oh, yeah, I've got them somewhere. And I'm like, well, I think we need to review them and put them out. Well, yeah, I'll find them. And I'm just like, really? I mean, you have and being from the teaching background, I know that processes and procedures are so key to basically doing things in a strategical manner. If you don't have processes and procedures, everybody's just going to do it their own way. And if you don't follow up and touch base with them, then everybody kind of starts doing things their own way. And you've got to kind of bring them back. Hold on, wait, you're supposed to be doing it this way.
So true. Well, and I think some people, like we were just on a phone call with one of our great agencies, a woman was very vocal that she was not going to follow the procedure because she just didn't believe in it and she doesn't think it's necessary. And, I think we also have to identify when they have one person who doesn't want to follow the procedures, maybe they don't need that procedure, but it's the definition of teamwork. It's the definition of all doing the same thing. It's the definition of, and if you let one person do it, then why don't other people have to do it or other things start happening? And by the way, this was such a simple little procedure. It was actually sort of comical. And I am very direct when that happens of, what the procedure it is and you're being selfish because if you don't want to change your ways and, the other 32 people are going to do it this way, but you have a personal preference, that's just not going to work in the real world. And there's processes in my own company that are not my favorite. But I understand why I have to do them so that the rest of the world operates correctly. Could I do it faster? Sure. But will we get it done right? No.
And being, not being open-minded to change and just trying it, because sometimes you try a procedure, you're like, oh no, this isn't going to work. And then you try it and you're like, oh my gosh, this is a really good procedure and this worked really well. So I think we have to, remind them, hey, at least try it, not just once, not just twice, try it a couple times. And, you may end up liking it.
It's so true. And I think that that's a huge point when we talk about adoption of processes is something I say all the time to people. And, being a trainer, you sort of read the room and I know 80 to 90% of the time what's the feedback's going to be, right? And if it's not feedback A, it's usually feedback B. And every now and again, there's a weirdo of C. But I always ask people up front when they're learning something new, the 3 agreements I asked for, will you try it 10 times without judgment and see what you think then? If you haven't done it and you have an opinion on it, that's judgment. Do you want to be a judgy person? Because you literally don't have the basis to go off of. That's like me going out and being like, I don't like sushi. It's like, well, have you ever tried it? No, because raw fish, the whole thought of it makes me disgusted. Okay, so you don't actually know, but your brain is telling you that sounds weird, different than your culture, but there's a whole population of people that eat it and like it, And so I think a lot of times what people are doing is saying is, it's not important to me. I'm more important. My way is more important than the greater good. I know better than you.
Well, and that
I've experienced that too.
I think it brings you back to, oh, they're my clients. They're my clients. It's the same concept. You're just thinking one way, your way, and you're not considering your team and your agency and how it affects them. So I think we really need to focus on those procedures and try them 10 times and don't judge them, because we don't know what's going to happen and how it could help make the team work together because everybody's doing it the same way.
Well, and also too, I kind of feel like another great example of this is who cares, right? Like if I work somewhere and somebody wants me to wear pink on Wednesdays, just a little shout out to Mean Girls. Okay. Like, is that what I'm really gonna go and put my, stake in the sand over? No.
If that's the worst thing you have to do on a Wednesday, your Wednesday is going to be pretty easy.
Yeah, like, okay, you want me to click here instead of here? You want me to turn this off? You want me to go use e-sign? You want me to go use this technology? Sure. You pay me to do it, I'm in. And I think that that's a big part. So I think we've done a good job clearly kind of like painting the picture, right? Like what's the reasoning and how do we get around it? That's what we have to kind of focus on, right? Because I think every business faces some of this, right? And adoption of processes, to me, I think in every business owner's mind, we want to just like, okay, I'm just going to click the switch in your brain and that's how you're going to do it because we had a meeting and here's the document and go have it. And I tell a lot of leaders, you might have spent weeks working on it. Sometimes it's their first time hearing about it, right? So you might have spent 4 weeks outlining it in videos and screenshots, and now you're out there and you're like, why aren't they doing it? Well, because for 20 years they did it a different way. And if for 20 years you did something a different way, and you had to go somewhere else, like there'd be mistakes and challenges. And so I think the biggest thing I always want to tell people for adoption is remember people will be a beginner at the beginning. And when you're a beginner, it's hard and it's not easy. And it's something that we have to kind of get through. So the biggest advice I give agencies when thinking about processes is set a roadmap. So everybody knows, hey, this month we're going to focus here and this month. So in their head, they can just digest like my claims process will be changing in July, or my payment process will be changing in here. And I think that helps people get their brain around what's happening. And it's not like another change. Why do we have another change? Did we just change something? And it's like, oh, we're going to change it all year, actually. Sorry, I forgot to tell you. What do you think about that, Therese?
Yeah, I think that happens, and I think we have to have the process somewhere where when they forget, they can go back to it and follow it. So, like our knowledge base articles, if I forget how to do something, or if I want to make sure I'm doing it the way the company wants me to do it, I go back to my knowledge base article and I follow those steps. So we need an easy place for them to go back and find those steps of the process that we want them to follow, so they can, get to it quickly. And even if we have to, for some, print it out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and have it somewhere on their desk for the moment, just so they know, oh, this is this procedure and this is how I have to do it, just to get them in the rhythm of doing it that way and something to remind them.
Awesome. So another thing that as you're getting adoption of processes is I think you have to stop and create a team of people who are going to work on it. Even if you're a teeny tiny agency, take a staff meeting and say, let's go through this and let's make some decisions. Or I also say maybe it's not even make some decisions. Maybe it's gather everybody's feedback, but then the owner makes the final decision, because the other reality is like not everybody's going to agree. And as a leader myself, I always want consensus, but I also establish the fact that that's not always going to happen because people have competing interests, right? So I may have to bend 20% and everybody may have to bend 20%, but in a room, nobody wants to bend because we all feel like we're advocating. But I think if you get some people together and say, that would be cool, this is what's working, and you're very clear on the objective. So another thing with processes, I think that, we struggle with a lot is there's like this push pull of efficient, effective. Are we wowing the customer and going the extra mile? To, what does all that look like? And it has to almost be this like recipe, like a blend of all of that. Because if you're too efficient, you might be ineffective to the customer. If you're too effective to the customer, you might be blowing your efficiency and can't get to the next person, right? And so it's sort of that Goldilocks principle, I think, of like, this one's too hot, this one's too cold, this one's just right. So as you're building your process, you sort of have to blend those things together and you have to make decisions, right? Like, what are we willing to take on? What are we willing to sacrifice? You can't do it all and you can't do too little.
Right. And having the input of other people, the team to figure out those processes kind of helps put it in the middle. So it's not two here and two here. Because if you have leaders that are designing it, they're not in the shoes of those people who are doing the processes every day. So if you have some people from a management team that kind of do both, then you can find that happy medium of what that process needs to be. So it's helpful to have that input and to have both sides of the spectrum, the ones that are up top wanting the process change and the ones that are actually doing those processes.
Yeah. And I think the next step on getting buy-in on processes is identifying someone who can be a beta tester, right? Because if you're a 3-person agency or a 100-person agency, when you're rolling out a new process, you are disrupting someone's workflow. The goal is for the better. So disruption is not always bad, right? For the better. However, even the best built processes without a test, you still have blind spots and miss stuff and realize, oh my gosh, so-and-so doesn't have access to that carrier, or, oh, hold up, like we need to get an email template for that. Like there's just things that when you build something in a bubble or a vacuum, you just don't think about till they come up, right? Like we deal with this all the time. Therese helps me build the internal processes at APP. And it's like, there's this one client that will have 2 different names because they're 2 different agencies, and then their email addresses are all different. And we're trying to figure out how to connect them and make everybody happy and whole, but not jack up our processes. And so sometimes it's even like a year down the pike, a situation comes up that doesn't happen so often, and you have to evaluate your process, right? So the best processes are going to be built for 80% of the time. And the remaining 20% is why we are still humans that can make decisions, and AI robots have not taken us over yet. So the other half of it is you need this beta tester, because if they do it for 2 weeks and find the kinks, you're not disrupting 50 people or 20 people or whatever it is, 4 people. You're disrupting one person who can go back to their other way of doing it while you fix the process. And your team will appreciate having a tested process. And my vote, Therese, is always to find the Tigger to test because they'll champion it versus find it. Now, there's another philosophy of get the Eeyore, and then they will find all the problems and you will fix them, and they will still be an Eeyore and say, well, I like the old way better.
Yeah, the Tiggers will definitely help you find the processes that work and help you find what doesn't work, and tend to help you try to find how to fix it. So definitely want some Tiggers in there.
Absolutely. So I wanted to, say that after you do the beta test, your next step is we call it a launch party, not a meeting. Partay, because a meeting sounds terrible. Another
meeting.
A meeting. Oh my gosh, a meeting. A meeting sounds difficult, terrible, horrible. Like who wants to be in it? A party sounds like this is going to be engaging and exciting. And we're all in sales, right? So the best part about being in sales is that we need to sell our team on the benefit of this process. So for the average team member, they hear a process change, they think difficult. Why are we disrupting my workflow? Why was it broken? Why do I have to do this? Nobody's going to want it. Nobody wants to get on EFT. No one wants to get pay in full. Nobody wants to do anything. Nobody wants to get on DocuSign. Nobody. My customers, right? And if you have a launch party and instead you have the opportunity to show them the value, show them why this is happening, show them how it's going to make it easier, now you're going to get more buy-in and excitement than just another process change. So what do you think about a launch party?
I think it definitely brings some excitement to it, makes it not so boring. And it helps them see a more positive view of it, because, meetings, there's something wrong. A launch party is, that's kind of neat. And if you haven't done a launch party before, that's kind of cool because they can look forward to it. And then they know in the future, a launch party means something exciting, something changing that's coming down the pike. So I think that's cool.
Yeah. And then the final thing is you have to inspect what you expect, right? So, give people a couple weeks to test it, try it, hang out with it, learn it, get comfortable with the process, don't rush it, get some feedback, make some tweaks. And then we call it, this is when the bill becomes the law. You can tell I was a Schoolhouse Rock fan. I'm just a Bill, a lonely old Bill, and I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. Sorry, I had a little moment there. That was one of my favorite ones. So now the bill becomes a law, and that means like, hey, we've tested it, we've tried it, people are using it, and the ones that are resistant now are really, we need to be direct, they're in insubordination mode. Everybody's going to make an honest mistake every now and again. There's a big difference between an honest mistake and a repeat scenario of just being ridiculous. I was going to use so many other words. I stopped myself because you can't just go ahead of, and just keep doing your own thing at some point. And, Teresa, I'm curious, what's your opinion? Like, hey, you've been in a lot of agencies, managed big teams, dealt with some of these things that we're talking about here. I think agencies should decide what the consequences up front, because in the moment it's like, well, so and so was out and this was a difficult client, and well, they try, but they're just not good with technology, and all the things start coming out, and we start sort of making excuses so we don't have to have a difficult conversation, right? So what do you think should happen in these agencies to make sure that accountability is upfront?
Well, I think first and foremost, we know that we have our seasoned staff, and those are the ones that we usually find that don't want to make changes. They've been doing it for 20 years. They don't want to change. They don't want to update with technology. And we have to keep up with the industry, and we have to keep up with technology. That means we have to train, train, train. So if necessary, have a manager sit down with that staff member that just doesn't get it and have them work through a couple of those processes with them, showing them how to do it, walking them through step by step, making sure that they have the processes written down. So when they're not with the manager, they know how to do them. And then definitely come up with consequences. Like, this is the way the agency is doing it. This is the way we're paying you to do it. This is the way it has to be done. If you choose not to do it this way, the third, maybe final consequence would be, I'm sorry, you're just not the right fit for our agency, because we want team members. And usually seasoned members that don't want to make changes are the ones that, aren't on the team. They're not team players, and they just want to keep doing everything the same way.
And that's a problem that we have to address, right? Like, it's unfortunate, but I also I don't know. It's too difficult to not do it that way too, right?
Well, and I think some of our errors are that we don't sit down with them to try to train them. We just, here's the process, take it, do it, period. We don't sit down with them. We don't train them. We don't show them what the good things about that process and procedure is, so they don't see a reason to change. We have to show them, hey, this is the process. This is what it is. This is how we're doing it. This is why we're doing it. And, I need you to buy in on this. I need you to try it 10 times. If you're struggling the first 3 times doing it, call me. Have me come over. I'll do it with you. Let's do it together, because, sometimes our seasoned employees are awesome. They're amazing, and they have so much knowledge, but we need to help them get into the loop, help them, stay up to date with the technology. And the only way that's going to happen is by training them properly. And that's something we really, really lack in insurance agencies. We throw people into the fire all the time. And that's why we're here. APP are here is to tell you, people need training. They need people to walk them through things. Sometimes they can't just figure it out on their own.
I also think that we have to realize that most people want to know what a good job is. And they may have their own opinions of what a good job is, just for the record. But they want to know what a good job is. And when you have these processes, it's important. And I also think it's important to realize, like, when you have somebody who's doing a great job and other people aren't, and it's not being addressed, it does hurt their morale. And so you have to be careful of who you're picking and choosing to really defend at that point in time. They might be struggling with it, but making it work because they value you and they're loyal to you, but other people might have other challenges, right? The biggest thing I want you guys to say is, like, processes are overwhelming. Like, we did January last year, we launched our 10 processes. I think when you add up the documentation of them all between the 10 processes, it's probably easy 300 pages. And I say that because it's got, like, email content in it. It's got scripts in it. It's got questions you should ask. It's got a 1-page graphic. It's got all this stuff in it. So if processes are on your mind, I really recommend you come over to our website, go to our process pack page or processes. We've got our 10 processes. You can buy them all grouped together or individually on our store. If you have any questions, you can use a chat bot on our website. But the goal is, hey, you know what? Why recreate the wheel? If we already have a lot of this stuff created for you, you can just tailor it like a wedding dress. That'll help accelerate your ability to handle processes faster and quicker. And even just the scripts and the email templates alone are well worth it. So I think it's super important that everybody stay focused on giving their team this. But if you're frustrated because everybody's doing something different and you don't have the processes, it's time to kind of look in the mirror and address it that way.
Absolutely.
Any final thoughts, Therese, on processes?
They are really, 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 really important, much more than you think they are. Jump in, try them, get your staff doing them all the same way, and then you'll know how to do them too.
Ooh, I like that. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next podcast, and check out those 10 processes on our website.